Republicans are losing more ground as the nation gets closer and closer to the 2022 midterm elections. New CBS News Battleground Tracker polling still shows Republicans with a lead in their attempt to regain control of the House. But that lead is now shrinking. So let's bring in CBS News Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto, to break this all down. Good to see you, my friend.
How are you?
So what are the voters saying is most important to them as they prepare to vote in, 42 days?
So my take here is understand what the election's about, and you'll understand what's going to happen. One of the things we've been trying to measure is the impact of the abortion issue. We've talked about this. Look at this. Among women, they now say this is the deal breaker. To get your vote, a candidate has to agree with them on abortion more than the economy. So that sort of sets up part one. And then you see that you talked about that shrinking lead. Democrats are doing increasingly better with people who say abortion is very important. Right now, they're up to 60-31. Now, of course, the balance out on that is that the Republicans are still doing well, just as well as they have been, with people who say the economy is important. But this is really responsible for a little bit of that narrowing.
Anthony, I'm sort of curious, as we get closer and closer to actual election day, how much can these priorities shift? Like, I just thought, after Roe v. Wade, there was all this conversation about, it's going to have a big impact on the midterms. And then for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about migrants being flown to Martha's Vineyard, and suddenly immigration is all we're talking about. And I wonder if our attention, the attention that the media is giving to certain topics, has an impact on where they rank day to day.
But can I just add an addendum to that, Amory? I suspect that you are right in that when the news about Roe versus Wade being repealed broke, it was 24/7 in the news cycle.
Yeah.
But what's happened, I see, is you still have Republicans sort of they will increasingly come out with support for policies that even seem stricter than just the repeal of Roe v. Wade, which keeps it in the news cycle. So I wonder if you've seen, Anthony, in the polling.
From state to state, though.
Right.
It's not
but like Lindsey Graham
York
coming out and suggesting, his support for a national ban, all of a sudden you put this front and center, and I wonder when the polling happens if you see those shifts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Look, one thing, we tested national abortion ban, and it's widely unpopular. It's like 70%.
Right, so by somebody getting in front of a camera and saying, I'm for something like that, then you galvanize those.
There's a light of fire under Democratic voters to get out there. And I'm just sort of curious about how much that changes from week to week, depending on what sort of we're focused on,
Yeah. Well, you're defining what I think is really interesting about this campaign. Think about other campaigns where there's been one issue and the parties are competing over policy on it, right? What's the best way? Like, they're not talking about what's the best way to fix the economy. That's not the argument. They're talking about what they want voters to focus on, right? So that's part of the dynamic of this campaign. And to your point, okay, let's look at immigration as an example, because I think it's great you raised that. So first, we know from this poll that Republicans themselves really like the idea of Republican governors sending the migrants to Democratic areas, right? So they get 87% on that. But to your point about maybe it's the coverage or maybe it's doing this, they actually said, Republicans actually told us that one of the reasons they like this is they think it brings attention to the issue. So look at this about movement. From August, it was 81% of Republicans saying that immigration was very important. That went up to 86%. And among independents, it was 50% in August, and it went up to 57%. So it did work a little bit. It did put that issue on the radar some, to the point of it's the shifting about what they want voters to focus on and get attention about. And I think that's the thing to watch even over the last month.
Yeah, except that, you also galvanize Democrats, I guess, because the reaction, if Republicans are hoping that Democrats and people who are in these communities where they're sending these migrants to are somehow going to react angrily to this, we've seen sort of the opposite. And I wonder if that translates to votes. And the other thing, Anthony, which is what I'm curious about when it comes to some of these issues that people are focusing on that have no real solution. It's just an issue to galvanize voters, right? There's a new polling that shows Republicans and Democrats how they would react if their party would lose the midterm elections.
Why I think this is such an interesting question is because we've had some candidates win their primaries that have said some crazy things about, obviously questioning the 2020 election, but, some things about what they would possibly do if they didn't like the outcome of an election.
Right.
And so I'm curious about how that may have tainted the voters' attitudes or conversations about elections.
Yeah, the big picture on this is people see democracy as threatened, but for a lot of different reasons. Now, for some folks, it's about elections. Now, for a lot of folks on the right and Republicans, they say it's too many people voting who shouldn't be voting, right? Who shouldn't be allowed to vote. But for Democrats, it's about access. Well, we did test what you mentioned, Vlad. I asked people, what do you do if you lose against this idea of challenges to democracy? There's a third of Republicans who said the party should right now be prepared to challenge in places where Democrats win. And that goes up to even higher, to 50% among people who self-identify as MAGA Republicans, right? A lot of suspicion in the process, rather than just accepting the results and trying to win the next time, which is what we typically see in the process. And look, there are some Democrats, just under 1 in 5, that fall into this category too, we should state. But it speaks to a larger point about the loss of trust in institutions that we've seen across the board. And that really is sort of not arguable.
Yeah.
We've seen that in poll after poll.
But it's just if they win, right? If they win, there's no challenging the results. But if they lose, that's where you see the
What
challenge.
I was thinking was, I wonder what the results of that would have been 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But we would have not asked that question.
I didn't have occasion
People
to
had
ask.
faith in the elections.
I didn't have occasion to ask.
No.
And that's such a great point. You don't get as much context for this because things have changed so fast that it's not necessarily comparable.
And it's so fascinating that even when you have people who are responsible for elections, who are apolitical, in other words, assigned to ensure the integrity of elections, that when they come out and say, we saw very little evidence of fraud, that it doesn't move people's hearts and minds. But when some rando politician who's got no background at all in understanding how polling or elections work, just that he's running for office or she's running for office, when they say it didn't go the way it was supposed to, everybody claps and says, yeah, they're absolutely right. Very strange.
Yeah. Well, again, it's part of the contest to not only define the election, but also to say, well, what is democracy? Democracy is about rights. Democracy is about access, right? And there's a fight going on over that. People feel that their rights are on the ballot this year.
Troubling times.
So fascinating. Anthony Salvanto, as usual, always great to have you here. Thank you so much.